And good evening and welcome to the Vegan Hour. This is episode 8 and I'm joined tonight by lifelong vegan Kamina Wust. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
Now, whilst people come online, let's just get a few formalities out of the road. It is Tuesday, April the 17th, and we've got a couple of great events actually. Yeah, a couple of really good events coming up. And I can see people starting to join there. That's excellent. Thank you for coming online, guys. So this weekend on Saturday, there is the Noosa Vegan Festival at Noosa. Where else? This is their first. Are you going to that by any chance?
I don't think so. Weekend?
This weekend, this Saturday, yeah. Noosa Vegan Festival, 10 a.m. at the J. The J is the name of the place. And that's going to be pretty awesome. There's guest speakers. There's lots of wonderful products and that there. So that's this Saturday from 10 a.m. at Noosa, and then also on Saturday at 12, I've got my Vegan Life, Vegan Luck in the Park at the beautiful Botanical Gardens at Benoa. So if you can't make it all the way up to Noosa, come and you're on the coast, come along and share some vegan food and good times with vegan friends. And Danny, hello, thank you for joining us. Let's just have a quick look and see how we look on the browser here. Yes, we look real. Yes, we look great. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so tonight I'm really excited about having Kamina on the show tonight because it is very, very rare to meet a lifelong vegan. It's so rare that Kamina actually has a site called Lifelong Vegan. Yes. So .com, yes. So it is very rare. I've actually tagged your Facebook page at the top of this live stream. So it's very rare to have a lifelong vegan from birth. So we're going to be finding out the experiences from Kamina of what it's like to be vegan from birth, the challenges she's faced, and also the positive, how wonderful it is.
Yeah. To
see the world from birth from a vegan perspective. So I'm really quite excited. I want you guys to chip in with questions about, you know, what the experience is like and the challenges that Kamina might have faced and also the positives in that as well. So also we're going to be talking about Kamina and her mum, who is Amanda Benham, who is a vegan dietitian. They put together an ebook that we're going to be talking about a little bit later as well. Yep. So Kamina is basically trying to help more people become vegan, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So through the ebook or through your lifelong vegan site?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so I believe you've been vegan from birth.
I have.
Now that was 30 years ago. This is your 30th year.
Yeah, I turned 30 a few weeks ago.
Okay, so I want to know first off, I've got written down here, my first question is, why? It's not that you had any choice in it at the time.
No, you have to ask my parents. No, I can say my mum went vegan about 5 years before I was born. The story that I've heard is that she always loved animals. She studied vet science and actually found that really distressing. Yeah, and then she one day, I should let her tell this story if she ever comes on, but I'll tell it anyway.
It's very hard to get your mother on this show. I've been trying for like a year.
So I think she heard something on the radio about animal cruelty or animal testing, and she was very upset. So she rode her bicycle to the local vegan society office or something in Sydney and said, "I've heard about this. Can I get the list of cosmetics that are not animal tested, or can I give you some money? What can I do?" And the lady said, "Are you a vegan?" And Mum said, "I don't know, what's that?"
Oh.
This was in 1983. So
wow.
She'd never heard
yes, 83, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the early days.
Anyway, the woman explained what it was, and the story goes, Mum said, "Yeah, okay, I am now." And then 5 years later, she had me. Somewhere in there, she had met my dad. They were both vegan, and I was born. And I was 10.5 pounds, so I did not fit the stereotype of like an undernourished vegan baby.
Not at all. I like there's lots of little thumbs coming up too as you're telling your story. The people like this.
Yeah, so and my whole family, we've just been vegan ever since. I just tell people it's my family culture.
Yes, so it's your mum,
your
dad, your brother,
my brother, and my husband.
Oh, and of course, yes, your husband, yourself.
That's a whole new thing.
That is a whole new thing. We'll get into talking about that as well too, of course. So that is incredible because you are seeing the world from a different perspective. You haven't had the experience of being somebody who was conditioned into eating meat and then had to grow out of that.
Yeah.
You've never had that experience.
No, and I've always felt like I was sort of on the outside looking in.
Right.
At everyone else who wasn't a vegan, and there was me, my family, and maybe a few friends. So yeah, it has been a very different way of seeing the world, and I find I never had that experience of transitioning. I've never been in it and stepped out.
So so did you, as you were growing up? I mean, you've gone through your different stages. Initially, you've gone into, I guess you went into preschool.
Yeah, I guess like even daycare or
daycare, that sort of thing.
From a very young age as a toddler, I remember interacting and being in non-vegan environments. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, what were some of the challenges and some of the experiences and that you can remember or that you can relate as being a vegan in a very non-vegan world, especially 30 odd years ago? We know, it's a lot better now. It's a lot more understood now. But we're talking mid 80s, aren't we?
Yeah, so I was born in 1988, so we're talking...
Oh, okay, early 90s.
Mum was 83 when
That's
she,
right.
83 when she
so
was
we're talking
88 I was born.
Early 90s.
So it's like 1991 or so that I went to kindergarten.
Okay. So you're a vegan kid, vegan girl in a non-vegan kindergarten.
Most people at that point that I interact with have never heard the word vegan before. So nowadays, if I go to a restaurant and say, oh, I'm vegan, what can you do for vegans? They go, oh, this, and this.
Yes.
But when I was like 3 and we went somewhere, it would be like, we're vegan. What's that? It means that we don't eat. So I guess for my parents, a challenge probably for them would have been teaching us what a vegan was and how to explain it, and then having that worry of sending us off to kindy or birthday parties and thinking,
would that have made your parents more overprotective?
I don't think so. I think I think they were pretty protective about wanting us to eat vegan, and I imagine it was quite stressful for them. But I also remember from when I was very little being taught in really simple terms about what a vegan was, what kinds of things we did and didn't eat. I learned pretty young how to identify that. And also, like, we had a fair bit of discipline, which I think is really good discipline, and this might have come from Mum being interested in food and nutrition, and I know now she helps people to help their little kids to eat well. But I knew from when I was a toddler that you didn't just go to the birthday party and just start grabbing things off the table and eating them and stuffing them in your face. You had some kind of discipline about, checking with Mum and Dad, is that okay to eat or whatever. And they would, so often, like, let's say kids' birthday parties, good example, right? I was just taught that it was polite to take something when you went to a party, which is something I still do as a grown-up.
Right.
And so we would have the little plate of like vegan treats or whatever, and we'd take it, and we'd know that, like, I'd know if nothing else I could eat that. And I knew I could eat fruit or whatever else. Yeah. And if you weren't sure about something, I'd sort of catch my mum's eye or my dad's eye, and they'd go, they'd go. And still to this day, we're adults. Me and my little brother still do this. He's 27. We'll be at a party or something, and either one of us will come up and go, oh, the pastry's vegan, I've checked, right? Or we'll just catch each other across the room and go,
you've got the signal. You've got the signal. See, now we've learned something already. Lifelong vegans from a very young age develop the signal. Yeah, we developed the signal very young. We invented that signal, everybody. See, that's something I didn't know. Yeah. So I've learned something from that. And hello, Judy. Thank you for joining us. Judy. Nice of you to join us. So that's, but okay. What about from a practical point of view, if as a young kid, was there anything much to eat in preschool or that? If you didn't take your own stuff, there probably wasn't. No, I'm trying to think. We would, like, I think all the preschools and kindies I went to, you took your own lunch. But then I remember like at preschool, we might do a baking day sometimes. Right. And I remember my parents having to explain about us being vegan, and I think we took our own ingredients, and I remember making like vegan versions of stuff. I had a really nice preschool teacher, so there's one particular memory of making vegan stuff with her, and she was really cool about it. Some teachers weren't so cool about it, and they'd be weird about it, I think not because they necessarily had a problem with veganism, but they just were like, well, this is different and annoying. Why'd you bring your own ingredients? Like, they couldn't cope with it. So that was hard. Yeah. I remember it,
if there was see, you don't do this nowadays because people are so conscious about food allergies, but back in the 90s, you're allowed to take anything to preschool. If a kid had a birthday, there'd be a cake, like mum and dad would send cupcakes from home. So my mum and dad used to make a birthday cake, like a chocolate cake, and ice it and cut it up into pieces and take it to the daycare, and it would be in the freezer. So then if someone had a birthday, my special piece of cake would come out and I would get to have a piece of cake.
Brilliant.
So
there were strategies.
Conscious about that.
Yeah, they were conscious, and they had strategies to make sure that you were catered for.
So they were really good about that.
There's an interesting comment from Vasella there that says, Harry, better you look at your guest rather than at yourself in the camera. She's assuming I'm looking at myself in the camera, rather disconcerting, or is there an audience you're acknowledging?
Actually, it's you. You're the audience.
You're the audience.
We're looking at you.
The irony of your statement is quite... We're looking at you. We're actually reading the comments, but if I was looking at the camera, I'd be looking up here. I'm actually looking down here at the comments, so. And I'm also looking at Kaminas.
I feel really valued and centre of attention, so thank you.
There you go. My guest is very happy with the attention that she is being paid.
So where were we up to? Kindergarten.
Okay, so kindergarten, yes. So we're negotiating the challenges of kindergarten.
And you know
but what about? Can I interrupt you there
sure.
and ask? What about the other kids treating you as different or an outsider, or not understanding what it meant for you to be vegan and why couldn't you have animal products and all that? What about, taunting or ridicule, or you're not one of the group or anything like that? What about that sort of experience?
So I don't really remember that happening until I was probably in late primary, early high school.
Okay.
Because the thing is that little kids don't...
They're more accepting?
They just don't notice or care. Yeah. They're not looking at yogurt.
No,
whatever.
No. They're just more interested in you.
Yeah, and I think as we got older, look, I personally was never really super, really badly bullied or taunted, but I think that's probably because of my personality.
Yes, well,
I was pretty obnoxious. I had a pretty overbearing personality. But there was always that feeling, often that subtle feeling of just being made to feel a bit uncomfortable, a bit like, oh, why aren't you eating that?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking, whether you got that.
Which is sort of like, even as, I got it the other day as an adult. I was eating lunch and a whole lot of people were looking at my food and asking me questions about it.
Wow.
And I said, guys, and they didn't know they were doing it, but I said, it's actually a bit rude to do that while someone's eating. Can we chat about it another time? So there was often that consciousness of, and I used to get kids asking me dumb questions like, oh, but, my mum said if you don't drink milk, you'll die. Stuff like that.
See, that's it.
Yeah, so I had to develop, not just a thick skin, because I never really took it super personally, but more a thick skin for sort of tolerating, sort of that conflict and arguments on a really regular basis, and getting good at having good discussions or de-escalating it and not letting it become an argument, or trying to explain my point of view, and just getting over the fact that a lot of people would always think I was wrong or be annoyed by me for whatever reason.
So in a way it actually helped develop your character. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
That?
Yeah, absolutely. I have vegan parents will say to me, oh, I'm really worried, will my kids be bullied for being vegan? And I'll always say to them, yeah, your kids will almost certainly be bullied, and for things other than being vegan, as well as being vegan. There's always going to be something. And I think the earlier you learn to understand that not everyone in the world is going to like what you do all the time, isn't that part of becoming a good adult?
It is.
It was really character shaping for me, having to really justify my position on something from a really young age.
Yes, character shaping, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
So there was times that it was hard. I never once wished I wasn't vegan. I sometimes wished that I didn't like attention being drawn to me, Sometimes I probably would have rather just sort of not eaten anything and had no one notice than draw attention to myself with my special vegan food. But,
From what I'm hearing, it sounds like you weren't really ostracized. You were still accepted. You were accepted as you.
Yeah, I was accepted. Yeah, I always had friends. I moved schools a lot for unrelated reasons. So, I always had friends. But yeah, there were different kids in different schools. But often if a kid bullied me, they were just a bully and they weren't my friend. But I always had friends. Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say the other day that you were having lunch and people were sort of looking at it. It's
and
like,
they weren't trying to be rude. They were genuinely just like, oh, what do you put in that instead of chicken? Or, you know, like just kind of,
so it was more,
but like really intense questioning and like pointing at what I was eating. I was like, don't do that.
Some people's social skills are lacking a bit, aren't they?
And I think that's the thing. Sometimes I always, this is my advice I give people about being bullied as a vegan. Think, if it wasn't about me being vegan, would it be okay for them to say that to me? Or would it be okay for them to treat me that way? And often you realize, no, they're actually just being a bit rude. Or they're not, you know, for me being vegan doesn't give them license to sort of socialize in a different way than is normally accepted. So sometimes it's okay. You don't even have to make it a vegan issue. You can just call them out on like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this, but you're just being kind of a jerk about it. Like, so let's start again.
So, so as you went through primary school and into high school, that you found it a little bit more challenging?
I think so, yeah. And, you know, I started to notice that teachers were more of a thing than kids as well.
Than the kids?
Because when you're in kindergarten, the teacher's not going to say anything rude to you because you're 3.
Yes.
And they might think, oh, that kid's parents really annoying with that stupid vegan thing, but they're not going to say it to you.
To you, right, yes.
Whereas in high school, there was more interaction with teachers, especially. I had to do home ec. It was compulsory to do a certain amount of home ec. So we had to like do cooking, and you had to, they'd sent you the stupid recipes and you had to bring all the ingredients from home, which meant the night before home ec, you're always in the supermarket running around. Oh, I've got to make French onion soup or something dumb. It was always the dumbest things. Anyway, they had like no nutritional value. I remember that the first day I went on like a little tour of my high school before I started going there. And we went into a home ec class and they had a picture of a pizza on the board and the teacher was explaining how pizza had all the food groups. Because flour, that's bread, that's a food group, and then it had tomato on it, and that's vegetables, cheese, dairy group, very important, and then the ham, that's the meat group. So that's all of the food groups. It's a complete meal.
Wow.
So
it's
that's
a complete
the
disaster.
Caliber of cooking that I had to participate in. So then I was like, well, I just would take my own ingredients. Because I was used to veganizing recipes. That's what I've always done. So I'd take my own ingredients, and then the teachers would be a bit like, then they're stressed because I'm doing it different to everyone else, and they don't know how to mark it because they can't they can't assess my beating of the egg because I've made the cake without eggs.
So they must have challenged you a little bit for things like that.
Yeah, they did. It was just So then they were not really mean to me, but just like kind of thoughtless questions, being a little bit hostile or a bit like you're annoying me or causing trouble. Or, you know. Because teachers are a bit less inclined to sort of hide their feelings in front of like slightly older kids.
Adults aren't always so adult, are they?
No, and then of course, you know, there'd always be, it's just ingrained in the culture, you know, oh yeah, calcium, that's good for strong bones, whatever. So I had to sort of, like what calcium is, but like dairy products, that's where we get calcium or whatever. And if there was a health class or something, I sort of had to sit through that crap. And we're putting my hand up. I don't think that's true.
So you were, with your strong character and being a lifelong vegan, you were challenging them from a young age. They mustn't have, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have taken well to that.
Well, no, and like I said, I was probably a lot more obnoxious as a kid than I am now, so I don't know if I was, anyway.
There's a question there from Tristan, says, hello, Harry and Kamina, loving the show. Can I ask Kamina what sort, if she ever uses Chronometer or other apps?
I do not. No.
That was an easy answer.
What's Chronometer?
Chronometer measures, I don't know. No, Chronometer is when I've had guests on that are very much into health and fitness, they use Chronometer to measure their food intake and stuff like that. I think that's what Chronometer does.
I have used apps like that on occasion in the past for a short period of time. If I was just interested in making sure I was you know, tracking what I ate or whatever. But no, not on a regular basis. I think growing up with a dietitian for a mum it's just kind of in me. I sort of know what I should eat every day in a general sort of way. So I don't want to track what I eat.
Which leads me to ask about, say, supplements. Because, I mean, you're very much aware of what you do need and what you don't need. So going down that road of supplements, what's been your experience there?
Okay, let me think carefully about how to answer this, because I do not answer nutrition questions as a rule.
Okay.
Because I have too much respect for the profession. But I will say I'm a huge believer in supplementation for vegans and non-vegans. I just think, yeah.
That's an important point for non-vegans as well. It's not as if it's something that, not that I give advice to non-vegans, but you know, but the supplementation isn't just because a person's vegan.
It's not a special vegan issue, although I said I wasn't going to talk about nutrition, but I do think that vegans should supplement with B12, and that's all I will say about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I've certainly no problem with supplementation. I think it's a great thing.
Okay.
I do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Yep. So also in that vein, what about with your mum being a dietitian, have you ever needed to visit a doctor or sort of do any traditional type things?
Like I have been to the doctor.
So you know what a doctor's surgery looks like?
What a doctor's surgery looks like, you know. But not for like, I've never
it'd be a rare
health. It's been a very rare thing. I've never had health issues that are anything to do with my diet, as far as I'm aware.
Fantastic.
It was a really healthy kid. And I do, you know, going to the doctor was not part of our family culture.
Yeah.
When I think now about going to the doctor, I think about going like as a grown-up, for grown-up reasons. I don't like, we weren't, I wasn't really sick as a kid. So you get a tummy bug, you'd be fine 24 hours later. I never had any illnesses or ailments.
So you weren't going through all the colds and flus or whatever else that maybe other kids were getting?
Actually, certainly not. You know, like when people say, "Oh yeah, you get sick every year," I'm sort of like, "Oh, do you?"
Do you? Well, I don't because I'm healthy.
Yeah, we were pretty healthy. I do feel lucky that I was raised by a mum who was really aware of that stuff.
I think that's quite amazing. Really, you're quite privileged to have come into this world that way.
I feel really lucky.
You are. You're very, very fortunate. Yeah. Because we talk about, I talk about wanting to see the world go vegan. You know, and you've come in. With that sort of perspective, and obviously, you know, your life has been centered around that. So you're a really shining example of what our world would be like. If everyone was vegan, you know, I mean, they'd be born vegan, they'd be coming in, they'd be healthy, hardly ever having to visit the doctor. You know,
my world was vegan, I guess, growing up.
Yeah. So, have you ever been curious or tempted by the dark side? I'll call it the dark side, but you know what I mean. Have you ever been curious as a person who has never had any animal products to sort of go, geez, I wonder what that tastes like, or what, I don't know what other reason maybe there would be to try something that's an animal product, you know?
I'll answer this a couple of different ways. So when you talk about being tempted, people have often said to me, oh, haven't you ever wanted to just try a hamburger? Or I've always found the smell of meat raw or cooking quite off-putting. Same with the smell of dairy. Same with the smell of eggs. A lot of people don't get that one, but if like a cake has egg in it, I can tell by smelling. So
would you say, just talking about that, you're probably more sensitive because you've never been conditioned to it in the first place?
And I think a lot of vegans say this, and I know my husband has said that he had this experience. He went vegan. At first, he was not at all grossed out by the smell of cooking bacon or something, but then, you know, within a year or two, he could smell those things much more strongly. You know, he'd walk past the smell of dairy and go, oh, it smells a bit gross, and it hadn't affected him before. So no, certainly never been tempted. The only thing that I ever was tempted by was when I was a little kid, things like lollies or chocolate that didn't really seem like they weren't vegan. And were just sweet and yummy, and everyone at school was passing around the bag and eating some. So I will admit that I may have tried some things, but I've never drank milk or tasted a piece of meat. Never found that tempting. Never felt like I was missing out.
And I can't imagine there should be any reason why you would find that tempting, because you've been brought up the right way. So why would you be tempted by that?
I've never really been excited. And even if I saw like a great dessert or something, my thing is always like, ooh, I wonder if we could make a vegan version of that. Of course. That's sort of, I've never thought, I'll have a spoonful of it to try like that. I know it would be gross.
So what about the psychological side of it, especially as younger as a kid, and just that when you get old enough to get that awareness that you're sort of you know, you're in a world that's not really the world you want to be in, you know.
Yeah.
So did that sort of hit you at a certain age? That sort of, did you find that troubling, or the fact that that your mum and your family and that were vegan, was that support just keeping it together and it wasn't so much an issue?
I don't think I ever had a big moment, but I think it was really good being born into it because my awareness kind of increased as I aged, and it was in an age-appropriate way. So when I was little, we were pretty protected, and then we, you know, going to daycare and going to friends' houses and going to kindy, you started to realise that some, like everyone else, was eating animal products, and that was a bit weird. But we had a really strong, I've written about this a couple of places, my parents created a really strong family culture. So being vegan was part of our family culture, and it was like our home was a happy place and a safe place, and that we were all vegan there. And you might go to school and someone would say something dumb, or you'd go to a party and there was nothing for you to eat, and you'd feel a bit crap because everyone looked at you, your plate, like, and or kept going, oh, have a bit of cake. But then you'd come home and it was fine. It was great, and it was just something that our family did that other families did not do. It was just part of who we were. So that gave us a really strong base.
I love, yes, a really strong foundation. I love the picture that you're painting there. That you always knew in the back of your mind that you could come home, and that was your safe world there.
And I feel so lucky now because, you know, I talk to vegans who are the only vegan in their family, and they talk about family Christmases or whatever, and like, my husband's vegan. His mum has gone vegan since I've known her.
Excellent. Excellent.
You know, my dad is vegan, my mum's vegan, my brother is vegan. So it's not like at family gatherings, even if some of us aren't vegan, we're always the majority. And we're not yelling or screaming at each other, or like, I don't feel alone in my family.
That is wonderful.
So I'm really lucky, and I know that's not a common experience, and my heart goes out to people who are doing it alone. I've never had to do that.
I think, I'd have to say it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare, and you are very, very fortunate.
Yeah, I think so.
Because you haven't had to sort of negotiate the family Christmases with the dead animals on the table, and you know, it's just So that is also a really relevant point, that if we have that support from the family, we're going to feel like, you know, we're on the right page, and you know, our whole world expands out from that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we're at the point now where people who are my age now can start creating their own vegan families if they have vegan children. Like, you know, you can create safe spaces for your kids the way my parents did for me.
Yes. Is that something maybe you'd like to do also, maybe down the road, maybe have kids and you know, create that same safe space for them?
I think so. You know, and if we do have kids, they'll certainly be vegan.
Oh, yes. That would not be in any doubt at all.
Yeah, and I think, I do feel really lucky that I think, you know, they'll have vegan grandparents, and
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And also because of you'd also have a base of vegan friends, but we were talking before the show that that you have a lot of friends that are not vegan.
Yeah.
But they're very accepting of you.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that also you like to sort of reach out, and this sort of brings us you know, reach out and sort of touch non-vegans and educate them. And this brings us into your lifelong vegan page. And
so okay, so
tell
I'll talk
me
a little
about
bit about all of that. I think, you know, because I have been vegan for my whole life, and for much of that I've been doing it, you know, obviously my family was vegan, and my parents helped me find some vegan friends my own age when I was little, and that was really nice.
Oh, hang on, I just want to pick you up on that. Vegan friends your age when you were young, there were some?
So we were talking about Cardi before.
Cardi, a shout out to Kahadi, who has been vegan from birth as well, and she's about 3 years.
She's a few years younger than me, so we were sort of friends with their family, like with her and her brother when we were little. Probably other kids whose names I can't remember. Some of them I don't think are vegan anymore. I've got another friend my age who's also 30, who her family was vegan. We sort of grew up as friends. We're still in touch. She's still a vegan.
Excellent.
So there's a few. There's like a few of us, but not many of us. But you know, by and large, I sort of grew up hanging out with non-vegans, living in a non-vegan world, not having lots of vegan friends. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Facebook groups. We didn't have big clubs with hundreds of members and vegan parties and potlucks and all that stuff on the scale that people have now. And because as an adult, I think when you become a vegan as an adult, especially if you're the only one in your family, you really want to club with other vegans because you need that support, especially when it's all raw and it's all new.
Yeah.
But for me, I've got a great support in my family. I don't really feel like I can only feel comfortable, like, although I don't have this big thing of like, I feel really unsafe in the world and I want to go and hang out with other vegans. I actually feel really comfortable moving around in a non-vegan world.
Right, yes. Because you're so grounded in your vegan life.
Yeah, I guess so. And because like I said, we were always the only vegans. So I just was sort of used to that. And now that's fine. So heaps of my friends are not vegan and they are so great. You know, I don't have a single friend. I don't know, they might say stuff behind my back, I don't know, but like, I don't have a single friend who would challenge, I don't have a single friend who would challenge me on it or be rude to me about it. My friends cook vegan food for me all the time. You know, we go to dinner parties. We've been on holidays together and the whole holiday was vegan. Everyone ate vegan, just out of just kindness and acceptance and making things easy. But yeah, so I do see it as part of my kind of something special that I can do is to sort of move around in a non-vegan world, have dinner with people that aren't vegan, cook for them, help them out if they want to be vegan or be more vegan than they are now. And with Lifelong Vegan, my website, people would often ask me, oh, can you just come to my house and teach me what to do? Or can you just like come grocery shopping with me and show me which things are vegan? That kind of thing. So I started doing that for people, and my focus is really on helping people who aren't vegan but they'd like to be, or are like very new to being vegan. I'm happy to help anyone, but I'd really love to see people go from being not vegan to being vegan. That's kind of that's where I'd like to help them. So,
I think I found your page. That's your page.
Yeah, it's lifelongvegan.com.
Okay, let's just pop that in the comments here. I see some comments that have come up that snuck in there that I didn't even notice.
Oh, I didn't see them.
Yeah, that's because neither of us were paying attention to the screen.
Oh, Tristan said, I was thinking about what you said, Tristan, lots of us are spending time with other vegans rather than our own families. And I understand that, and it must become like, you know, vegans become your family if you find hostility from your own family. So I think it's really lovely that we've got these groups.
But it is definitely the groups serve a fantastic support structure, but how much more wonderful when it's your own family, when you can go home and you don't, and you can feel at peace, and you're not going to have to justify yourself to your own mum and dad, and that's you know, how much more wonderful is that?
You know, we have this tradition in our family, and I always feel lucky. We get together every year in about September and have this big discussion about what are we going to have for Christmas dinner, because we don't have the like roast turkey and all that. So we do something different every year. We have a different theme. We always have to have a meeting and be like, what's the theme this year?
That's great.
Going to be Mexican? Is it, you know?
That's good. And
I always think, oh man, that's great. So we all want to eat the same thing at Christmas.
There's Nicole says, yes, eggs are disgusting now. I'm just realising. Oh, yes.
They smell really really funny.
And Tristan says, next time I'm chalking, it says lifelong vegan. I don't know if that's meant to be lifelong vegan or lifelong vegan.
Lifelong vegan.
It could be that.
If the it
could be. That's how I think that's what I'll be chalking, because that's how I felt, you know. Because your experience has differed from mine, because mine has always been trying to justify myself up until when my parents went vegetarian 2 years ago. It's always been that justification, you know, always that little snide remarks from them, little criticisms, like, you know, even sort of, you know, just picking at me in front of, say, their friends or something, and, you know, just, and it's like, you're really just not happy that your son's vegan, are you?
No, and like, we're always on the defensive.
Yes.
You know, and I don't know why we necessarily need to defend, I guess, because we're in a minority. But when people say to me, why don't you eat meat? I often just go, why do you?
Yeah, why do you?
And like, as non-confrontationally as possible, but like, because I think about my choices. I don't know, have you thought about yours?
That's good. And actually, one of the things that you're really good at is actually having a discussion with someone with opposing opinions without it getting into an argument. Because you're a strong believer that you should be able to, you know, maintain a different stance or opinion from somebody else, without that then sort of going, oh well, you're wrong, so you're an idiot, sort of thing.
And I think we're not, as a culture, we're not very good at disagreeing with people, but sort of staying friends or having a robust discussion that, you know, where it's really constructive on both sides, and maybe you can even persuade someone to see your point of view, but without it being like, you know, I think saying I don't agree with you, people take that as an insult.
Yes.
I'm just saying I just don't agree with what you do. We can still be friends. Do you want to have dinner and talk about it? Like,
I mean, that's mature, isn't it? That's emotionally mature to be able to do that.
Yeah, but it's hard because there's so much emotion attached to this issue, I think. I mean, we know there's so much emotion attached to the issue. So
well, people tend to defend their beliefs and their positions so strongly.
Yeah, and I see both sides of it because, of course, vegans are angry and sad. They want to stand up for animals. They want to, you know, maybe it's a health issue and they've just discovered that the diet their doctor put them on is making them sicker, and no one told them that they didn't need to take the medication, or you know, they're really angry, you know. So I get that, but then on the other hand, you've got people going, but everything I've read my whole life and seen on the news and seen on the side of a bus, and now you're just saying that's wrong. What are you talking about? And I don't want to give up because it's not just I like the taste of meat. People say I like the taste of meat, but it's like Sunday roast with my mum and dad. You know? It's like the chicken soup that my grandma makes when I'm sick. Christmas dinner. How am I going to replace those things in my life? It's really, food is such an emotional thing. So I see both sides.
So we're talking not just about the food, and I hate to use the word food when it comes to animal products. We're talking about the memories, the social connection involved around it.
Yeah. And like we've seen, people are saying that, you know, they can't go and hang out with their families. They don't want to go and have Sunday roast anymore. That's really sad. Like, that's heartbreaking. So to be able to have those conversations and really empathize with what people acknowledge their grief, acknowledge what they are losing.
That's a very valid point, isn't it?
And be on the same team, like.
And it's a realisation, because we did talk a little bit about this before we went live, a realisation that if you've been brought up initially as a non-vegan and then you go vegan and you know, you start thinking about all these things, wow, I was lied to, you know, and I can't sort of take a comfort in the things that I was doing, and this is where you're talking now about, you know, the anger that vegans can carry, and the hurt that they can carry, and that's something that actually, I mean, it's something that has to be addressed. We can't just ignore it. I mean, to be a healthy human being, we have to address these things.
Yeah, and I don't know that taking it out on meat eaters or the meat industry or whatever is always the answer, because obviously we're really angry and hurting. But I think I said to you before we went live, it's good to be angry about injustice. Like, that's legitimate and valid. But like, gather that anger up, hone it, and wield it properly. Let's not just lose it, because that's not helping.
Let's be assertive, not aggressive. Aggressive is just going to backfire, blow up in your face. It's just going to put people offside, and they're just going to get their defences up. Assertive is the smart way to approach people and say, hey, you know, there's a better way of doing this. You know, I'm against injustice. I'm against exploitation. Let's have a discussion about this. You know? And
look, I've been aggressive and angry at points. I know that I have. Like I said, I was much more obnoxious about it when I was younger. And I think.
How obnoxious when you were younger?
On free dress day at school, I used to wear a T-shirt that said McDeath with the McDonald's. But I don't think they're allowed to make them anymore.
Oh, that's good. We've got to bring that one back. We've got to bring back the McDeath. That got some hearts and thumbs and all that.
But I think we were talking before, it's just about, a lot of times about good manners. You know, like, we need to have good manners. You should expect other people to have good manners when they're calling you out on your beliefs, and you should treat their beliefs. Like, let's just have a discussion, like, without raising our voices or really losing it. And I don't know, I think, like you said, let's find ways for vegans to address their anger and their pain and their hurt, because it's really valid, it's really important, a lot of people are carrying a lot of it. You
did say before we went live that you know, there are ways that if a vegan is feeling you know, angry or hurt or whatever, that they, rather than taking it out on a non-vegan, they should be looking for constructive ways of actually directing it, like in a holistic way or something, you know. So whether it's going to be therapy, whether it's going to be yoga, meditation, or something, you know, that actually channels it so that they can be effective activists.
And I think we're talking about how veganism is about compassion for everybody.
This is another really valid point.
Including humans that you really disagree with, that are hurting and bullying you. And
this is a really valid point. It's sad when I see debate and disagreement between vegans, because at the core value of veganism is it's not just about the rights of animals, is it? It's compassion, as you say, for all living beings, which means it's the way we treat each other as vegans and the way we treat people that are non-vegans. We should be treating them compassionately.
Yeah, and so I think it's just about being loving and kind. And I think I think on my website it says something like I'm really super non-judgmental, and I'm here to help you be as vegan as you're ready to be. I would just want to help you go that next step. You know, I go to someone's house and they go, "Oh, the chocolate! Don't look at that. I've got some chocolate there," and I go, "It's all right. You don't need to hide it from me. I'm not here to judge.
It's not like you don't know it exists."
Yeah.
It's not like,
yeah, I want to have conversations with people.
Would it be fair to say, see, that is a situation, you go in there and somebody says, oh, you know, I've got chocolate, and you say, look, I'm not here to judge you. That actually would it be fair to say that gives you more of a chance of actually reaching their heart?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Then saying, oh, you shouldn't have that.
Yeah, because I think, you know, a lot of sort of non-vegans can be a bit scared of vegans. And look, we can be scared of non-vegans because sometimes they're really mean to us. Like,
yes.
You know, like we're hurting. People are mean to us about our food. But, you know, we have the same effect if we then lash out in anger. A non-vegan is like, I've had people be sort of a bit scared to ask me questions because I think that I'm going to get my back up and start. And I sort of go, no, it's fine. Like, it's okay. So you need to have those conversations from a place of softness.
Tristan says Vipassana helps. So yes, definitely. I've never done it myself. Have you ever done?
No, I haven't.
You haven't done any meditation or yoga?
I do love yoga. I'm
a
regular practitioner.
Excellent.
And I try to do a bit of mindfulness meditation most days.
Good.
But no, I haven't got into all the...
No, that's fair enough. And you've noticed that helps, the yoga and the mindfulness meditation?
Oh, well, I mean, like I've never really had an anger issue as a vegan because it's something that I've just... I never had that big revelation moment where I suddenly realised the world was not vegan, or that I wanted to be vegan and the world wasn't. It just always was. So I've sort of grown up from a place of, I guess, not accepting it in that, of course, I'd like the world to be more vegan. So I'm not accepting it, but like accepting in a sort of emotional sense. Like this has always been the way it is. It's always been my experience.
So that brings us up to, say, present time and some of the changes that have been happening. Like in the last few years, there seems to be would you agree there seems to be a rapid increase in awareness and changes happening in the world? How do you see it?
Yeah, you know, because my memories of being a kid, like a vegan kid, were like, people don't know what a vegan is. Like I just spent my whole life explaining what a vegan was constantly. I don't remember the last time now I explained what a vegan was. You know, everyone knows what a vegan is.
That's it. Yeah, that's a good point.
But like, literally, people had not heard the word. We didn't even say vegan. We didn't bother. We would say, I'm a really strict vegetarian and I don't eat eggs or dairy products.
Okay.
That's what you would say.
Because the word, that's interesting because vegetarian was more known.
Everyone, people knew what vegetarian, but if you said vegan, people just looked at you like blankly.
Yeah.
So to just be able to go to like any restaurant or cafe now and say, like they usually will have something vegan on the menu, but if they don't, to just go, I'm vegan, can you make something vegan? People, and they go, yeah, that's fine. That's amazing. You know, the array of products even in the supermarket. Look, I don't eat a lot of meat alternatives, or I don't get excited about vegan cheese, whatever. We didn't have that in the 90s.
That's right.
We don't need it now.
That's right, that's true.
But like I don't eat a lot of those alternative products, but even things like soy milk. You know, when I was little, you'd go to the shops and it was just like one type of soy milk.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
I mean, you would remember this because you've been vegan longer than I've been alive.
That's true.
Mum said when she first went vegan, she used to put orange juice on her cereal in the early 80s because it was like you couldn't.
Actually, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that. Boy, that goes. Yeah, I've done it. That was a long time ago.
Because there wasn't something, and I remember going to like the Asian supermarket and buying like soy milk in a weird triangle packet. You cut the corner off.
There was soy milk in a. This goes back to the 80s. This predates you, but this goes back. There was soy milk in a sachet packet that you used to cut the corner off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was still around, and it was like, it was actually really nice.
I remember it.
There was a flavour, it was a mint flavour, and there was a few really unusual flavours.
Yeah, okay.
And I can remember a health food store here on the Gold Coast that had it, and I used to go there and go, this is the bomb, this was great.
Yeah.
But, you know, you couldn't go into a supermarket or anything
I know.
like that.
And whereas now people always, like the question I get a lot is, oh, where do you get your vegan products? And I go...
Anywhere.
Anywhere. I don't, like just a normal supermarket. Which one? Literally any of them.
That's right.
You know.
How big is the range of plant-based milks now, like in Coles?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good. And it used to be if you saw like a packet of biscuits or something that was vegan, you like...
Yes.
You were so excited. And now it's like, I don't even go for that stuff anymore.
That's why I love talking to a long-term vegan, because you can just compare notes, and nobody else is going, everyone else is going, what are you on about?
And we didn't have Facebook then, so back then, now everyone's like, oh guys, vegan thing in aisle 3, and then it's on Facebook. Whereas then it was like, we didn't, there was no one to talk to about it.
It's like
6 packets.
It's like meeting your long-lost sister or something. For me, it's like, oh wow, where have you been all my life? It's like that.
It was just so it's so different, and people didn't even know how to. People would say, oh, you're a vegan. You're a vegan.
But
vegan a lot. Would you like some tofu? No one knew how to say any of them.
Tofu. I have to laugh at the fact that you said a minute ago that you don't have to explain what a vegan is. I actually had to explain today. A guy asked me. He said, "So, what's a vegan eat or not eat?" He genuinely didn't know, and he was inquiring nicely. And I'm like, okay, and I just explained it. I said, we don't have any animal products. We don't believe in exploiting animals, and I just explained it a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, So, and I could see he's like, I don't think he knew that. So he was so conditioned that he hadn't come across that before. So for me, that's not a new experience. I've actually had that a few times. Well,
you get it occasionally.
Occasionally, you get it occasionally.
But so much more 80s vegan memories. Love it.
I could do a whole show about it.
I reckon we should. You should just have everyone who's been a vegan 30 years and we'll come on. And
wouldn't it be great if we could get your mum on? Originally, when I was planning Kamina on, I was trying to plan Kamina and her mum on together because I thought that would be great.
We'll come again. We are good together.
I hope so. You have got to organise it with her because my attempts to set her down to a date have been so hard. So now you can say, look, Mum, you've got to come
I went and it was amazing.
That's right, it was amazing. So, and I mean, your mum has known me for years, so you don't have to sell me to her. So, anyway, you don't have to say Harry's amazing. So let's get on to talking about, we've got a bit over 10 minutes left. I want to find out about you and your mum, talking about your mum.
Yes.
You've done an ebook called Easy Peasy Plant-Based Eating.
Yes.
That rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it? So tell us about this ebook.
Well, the genius in it is all mums. I'm just the writer. Because that's actually what I do for a job. I'm a writer. So, and Mum has all these ideas, and I was like, well, we've got to sit down and we'll write this together because she wanted it written. So I said I would help her.
Okay.
So, Mum has spent a really long amount of her life figuring out what vegans should eat. Probably, I think there are very few people in the world who've done the work that she's done produced the content that she's produced. I have some of my earliest memories are of Mum doing her master's thesis in the early 90s, and she developed back then like a food guide for vegan and vegetarian meal planning, which was sort of based on what, like the Australian guidelines that
okay. Way ahead of the time, eh?
Yeah, so she did that, and then over the years it's evolved and she's done more work, and sort of the latest iteration of that is in this ebook. So the ebook basically takes you through, and the advantage of like Mum having the genius and me doing the writing is we've taken all that nutrition stuff and put it into terms that anyone can understand. That's why it's called Easy Peasy. It's really simple to read, it's really simple to do. So it just takes you through the basics of sort of like why plant-based, who is plant-based eating suitable for, spoiler, everyone.
Everyone, yeah, I like that.
And sort of like just the attributes of a healthy plant-based diet, how to plan that. It's got Mum's 6 whole plant food groups. Because the other thing that's unique about, not unique, but fairly unique about her approach is that her food groups are all whole foods.
Yes.
So she's got 6 whole plant food groups, because I know a lot of vegans are concerned about that.
Yeah.
And it just, as a nutritionist, that's her responsible position, is that's the healthiest way to eat. Yeah, so we've got that, and then just steps for planning. There's 3 days worth of recipes in there based on those food groups. There's our guide to all different nutrients. So there's questions like, where do you get your protein? Where can you get iron? What about calcium? What about that? Like, there's a whole index of those things broken down by one. Yeah, it's really comprehensive. It's like 67 pages or something. It's quite hefty. It's not a little booklet.
Yeah, okay. So how do people, is there a link I can put up for that? How do people actually
well, if you go
get hold of it? We go to your website?
Yeah, so Ultimate Plant-Based Nutrition Guide.
Where are we? Just there? Okay, we're just going to give you guys a link in just a moment.
I think that's the link. So if you
that's the link there. Yeah. So if I copy that and paste it,
so we're going to put
we should be on a winner.
So you can get it there.
And let's see, going there, and okay, Ultimate Plant-Based Nutrition Guide, that'll load in a minute. And Tristan says, nice work on the book, Dr. McDougall and her mum. Yeah,
I remember reading Dr. McDougall when I was really little, because his books were always lying around our house. Yeah.
And Tristan also says, we'll promote this book when outreaching.
Thank you, Tristan.
That is awesome. Good on you, great. Tristan. That is really awesome. Yeah. I believe, talking about your mum, I believe she's recently been doing a PhD in something.
Yeah, she is. She's currently working on a PhD.
Yes.
So I believe, if I get this right, so it's broadly around vitamin B12.
Okay.
I think a particular field of focus is Australian vegan women of childbearing age. That's what she's, because she specialises in paediatrics. She's really concerned about the next generation of vegans and
fantastic.
Helping pregnant women, lactating women, young children. That's sort of her focus. So she's doing this whole PhD on vitamin B12 specifically.
Wow, that is fantastic. That's another thing that'll be very important to me.
Really important.
Very, very important. Yeah. So, what sort of advice? Talking about that, what sort of advice would you give? Well, would you give advice? I'll reword it. Would you give advice to parents that are thinking of bringing a child in vegan from birth?
Yep.
Would you have advice you'd like to give them, or what sort of advice would you like to give them?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm always really careful giving parenting advice, because I'm not a parent, but I am and was a child.
I think that's something most of us have in common.
Yeah, so I can only talk about what was great for me as a vegan kid. But when we're just on the topic of nutrition, I have sat through enough of my mum's talks to know that I know very little about nutrition. Most people know so little about nutrition. We think that we do, but we don't. And if you look at what people are eating, it's just terrifying. And I mean, something that Mum always says in her talks is that in Australia, over 50% of premature deaths are caused by poor diet.
Over 50% of premature deaths are caused by poor diet.
Now that's usually for older people, not kids. That's usually people with things like diabetes and heart disease and stuff like that. Although there's lots of other stuff too that doesn't get as much press. At the younger end of the scale, I don't want to misquote this, but I'm pretty sure that nutrient deficiency is if not the leading cause of intellectual impairment in the world.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Including in Australia.
Yes.
Vegan or not vegan. Yep. So I'm not saying there are special concerns for vegan kids, but the point is that we don't know very much about nutrition. We think we do. It's so important for developing fetuses, for breastfeeding babies, for growing children. Nutrition is so important. Please don't guess or just think it'll be all right. They'll just eat healthy. I'll eat healthy. Most people don't really know what that looks like.
Yep.
So I would say, if you're going to have a kid, go and see a dietitian.
Yeah.
See if you can find a vegan, accredited, plant-based, accredited practicing dietitian who specialises in paediatrics. That'd be great.
I wonder where we'd find one of them. Jeez, if we only had a link, we could share.
But she used to be the only one, and it's even now there are dietitians. Around the world, vegan dietitians,
naturopaths.
but I would say go to an accredited practicing dietitian.
Should I put a link up for Amanda?
Oh yeah, please do.
What would be a good link to?
Go to humanherbivore.com.
That's right. Hang on. Human Herbivore. I've actually got her. I was telling you earlier. I've actually got her. Her big chart on the fridge.
She's got a great magnet with her food groups.
Yeah, food group magnet. I've got that on my fridge. It's awesome. I mean, it's massive.
It's designed to sit on the freezer door. Yeah. So
it's a good. Yeah, I must look at it sometime.
But yeah, I'm not just saying that because she's my mum. As I said, I have sat through a lot of her nutrition talks and just thought, yeah, we really need to know what we're doing. It's really important. It has a really big impact on our health. So if you're going to have kids, get good advice about that. Read the ebook. I know we're in the process of developing one for kids.
Excellent.
For raising vegan kids.
In fact, so I've just put the Human Herbivore website up there. So that's Kamina's mum, Amanda. That's her website. Lots of information on there. Also, your mum has a leaflet that I actually hand out at my Vegan Life events if people are interested, which is nutritional information for adults, for kids, and for there's 3 categories: kids and really young kids or babies or something.
Yeah, I think she does one for babies.
Yeah. So, and that. When I discovered that a few years ago, I thought, wow, in this leaflet is so much information.
Yeah.
So that's just a double-sided A4. I just print that out and just, if people are interested, I say, have a look at this. This will answer a lot of your questions.
I mean, she's been doing it for 25 years or something. She's kept up to date with. She keeps up to date with all the research. She's got so much experience. So I really recommend seeing somebody of her caliber.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I would just say to people, she's available to speak. I'm available to speak. If people have questions, they can email me. Please do that. Send me an email through my website.
Yes,
we're here to help. We want to help people to be vegan. We want people to be safe and healthy vegans. We want children to be thriving vegan children.
Yeah,
because that's what we can help you do. So.
You're helping people to have happy, healthy lives. You're helping the animals to have happy, healthy lives, and you're helping the planet to have a happy, healthy life.
Yeah.
It's a win-win-win, triple win.
Yeah.
I think that's 3 fingers.
So please ask for help. I really like it if people want to email and ask for follow-up stuff.
Excellent. So there's Kamina is saying, you can contact her through lifelongvegan.com, or you can contact her through her Facebook page, which I've tagged at the heading of this live stream. And you can also contact her mum Amanda through humanherbivore.com. Now, before we wind up, I want to ask you about the future. Where do you see us going in the future in vegan awareness and the way the world is changing? Any thoughts on that?
We didn't really quite finish talking about how rapidly things are changing.
That's true. And
I just think I'm pretty sure vegan's the fastest growing food trend ever.
Fastest, apparently, they call it the fastest growing social movement or social justice movement. Or
I'll just be very surprised. I mean, I think it'd take a lot for the world to go vegan, and in certain parts of the world that is not practical. But in privileged cultures like ours, where we can eat whatever we want, I will be very surprised if we don't find more and more people choosing to be vegan. If there's not, I wouldn't be surprised if I see a vegan majority, or at least a large minority during my lifetime. I just think it just seems obvious that that's the way things are going. Which will be really strange and exciting for me and for people like you, who've gone from being sort of ridiculed and sidelined, and 30 years from now, I'll be there going, I told you.
And you know what? I'm a firm believer it's going to be a lot quicker than that, because the rate of change is increasing.
Yeah.
It's massive. And the figures that I'm seeing, of the percentages of growth in so many different vegan-related areas are so encouraging. It's just so encouraging.
And that's almost why I focus on the how, not on the why, because there are so many activists out there telling people to be vegan and telling them why, and that's amazing work. And then I see myself as the next link in the chain. You come to me and I'll help you to do it. Mum will tell people how to do it without, completely stuffing up their diets and not eating the right things or whatever. I will get.
So you've got the activists on the front line saying,
but
why, and you're doing the how.
Vegan so quickly. Vegans need to be really agile, and we need to be cushioned to catch those people and help them along. Because we don't. Everyone will go vegan, and then they don't know what to do and things will fall apart. So we've got to be ready for that.
That's true. Yes, yeah, you've got to be able to catch them and steer them in the right direction.
Yeah,
yes.
It's changing so fast.
So there, once again, I say, you know, Kamina can definitely help with any questions you have. You can ask her. You can even ask questions on the live stream even after we've finished tonight, and you will see them. You'll get a notification. And you can respond to them. And Andy says, "Great info, thank you," and thanks for watching, Andy.
Thanks,
I didn't even know you were watching. That's great. So, guys, I really appreciate all the questions. I appreciate you tuning in. This live stream will be available in a YouTube version probably by tomorrow night on my page, so you'll be able to watch it through YouTube. And next week, no, not next week, 2 weeks' time, episode 9 on Tuesday, May the 1st, is with a vegan nutritionist.
Oh.
Donna Wild. Have you heard of Donna?
I don't know Donna, but I'll look her up.
You will have to. Yes, so she will be joining me in 2 weeks' time, and I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming along, for making the trip down, and yes, I do that, and you do.
Well, I can see all their love hearts coming up.
Yes, cool. So thanks again, guys. This has been episode 8 of the Vegan Hour, and we will see you guys soon. Live vegan and save lives. Good night.